Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We are coming today to bring you some excerpt from the march past that just took place in Washington D.C. for the 20th May. A lot of our people, the Southern Cameroonians community here, went out and had a very powerful march. Okay, some excerpt. You can see the photos, some of the march that took place. Okay, you see our people are still mobilizing, no matter the some people say, that the movement is not more active or whatever. The diasporans are doing their part. No matter how difficult it is, know that a lot of people, a lot of our comrades, you can see that's Comrade Chris Arno there, this is how activism is. Some people start activism and they stop. Okay, it's a continuous process. You can't start activism and you stop when the crisis is still ongoing. What do you want to? What response do you want to tell those people who are languishing in the dungeons? What do you want to tell those people who are still suffering in the refugee camps? What explanation can you give? What do you tell them? That you are you still fighting for them, or you are just silent? Okay, we want to appreciate all those who took part in the march past. We are very grateful that a lot of people showed up, and it was a very successful march. Okay, the demonstration should be often. Okay, we should create awareness. Okay, it's not only once. We have to continue the demonstration like before, where we had a lot of demonstration in front of the United Nations, in front of White House, in front of the U.S. Senate, and other areas too across the world. We cannot rely only on the protests in the United States. Okay, we have to all across the world continue the mobilization, continue the grassroots. Okay, because the little thing you do in your own corner has a lot of effect, no matter what you do. Okay, I want to thank those who really made it, and it was a wonderful march. Okay, yeah. The march, while in here, we saw that despite the rebuke from the House of Chief of FACO chief, or whether the House of, now we are just confused. We don't know who is controlling the chiefs, who is in charge of or the head of the chief, because they just make them now just, you have the Northwest House of Chief. The chief went on march. Okay, sometimes when you want to ask these people, please, these are chiefs that went on march, but we don't know who went to march exactly. But across imagine how many villages are there. If there are 400 villages, it means there are 400 chiefs, right, across southern zone. But these are just maybe just a handful of them, like from a FACO area, because we have chiefs across Amazonia, especially southern zone. Just imagine how many villages are there. That is the number of chiefs that you can say. So all these guys, some of them are just few that went a march because they were paid. Like public government is good at corruption, and with the divide and rule thing, they have succeeded in corrupting some of the leaders. Okay, this divide and rule, the number one aim of the divide and rule was to make sure that if this one say no, this other one will say yes. If this one say yes, this other one will say no. So that divide and rule has worked to the to the advantage of La Republique. Okay, tell me, did you see the Norwest funds go and march? No, right? Now they will show this photo now to the Norwest fund, and on the next 20th May or whatever, they'll say, okay, last time the Southwest chief went and marched. Now you two have to march. That's how they'll manipulate it now. That now, okay, you, the Norwest funds, you are the one that are not complying with our request. You see, they know how to manipulate things. But those are just handful of those people who went down and march and so on and so forth. But remember, these guys, they have classified the chiefs and funds in Class A, Class B, and Class C. So they can just ask the Class A chiefs, pay them some money, say, please, you guys are the ones that earn more money because you are Class A. Class A chiefs earn more money than Class B. Class B earn more money than Class C chiefs. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's sent a lesson to us, right? About the way La Republique operate. Okay. The government has a means of using corruption. That is why when you saw Atanga Nji in the Vatican openly having an envelope, open bribery and corruption in the Vatican, that is something that when you see it, you say, wow. But the Pope could not take it, right? He would send his hand in his pocket, take an envelope, and try to bribe the Pope. This is live event in the Vatican. See, he will send his hand in the envelope. Look. They're taking this corrupt practice right to the Vatican. Now you send his hand in his pocket and move an envelope to give now. You see, he wanted to give the Pope. The Pope refused. You see, this is happening live in the Vatican, and people don't understand how corrupt. You see. So the Pope to bless the money. Imagine the Pope did not want to collect the money because that it's blood money. You see, he gives it the Pope. The Pope bless it. Then Atanga Nji made the sign of the cross. Oh man, these guys are terrible, man. Chai! Ah man, this is funny, man. The Pope denied the money. Atanga Nji made the sign of the cross. I think Atanga Nji was thinking that the Pope will collect the money, but you cannot use this kind of thing, and it is sad, right? Very, very sad. And when you see this happening, you can tell that this is really sad. Very, very sad when people go to the Vatican instead of showing, because this has gone all over the world. They have proved the Cameroon government as very corrupt. The Pope reject the blood money from the Atanga Nji. Yes. First of all, how did Pobia manage to select Atanga Nji? Of all, you have at least the prime minister that can go, right? They instead send the most corrupt person in that Pobia government. Atanga Nji is number one. With the other Ngongo and the other ones that are there very corrupt. Atanga Nji is in the list of the most corrupt ministers. So I don't know. Sometimes Biya just decide to choose anybody. They don't even follow the constitution. If Biya cannot attend an event, the person that they should send is the prime minister. But you see, Pobia will look around, look any minister that he likes, he will choose Ngongo. Sometimes Ngongo go and represent Paul Biya. You see, I don't know where the constitution say Ngongo can, Secretary General of the presidency can go and represent, So that is the modus operandi of the government. They don't respect the little hierarchy. They don't respect that, okay? Atanga Nji has nothing to do with the Vatican. Who sent him there in the first place? Who sent Atanga Nji there in the first place? Yes, because you cannot, the bribe that Atanga Nji decided to give to the Pope. Atanga Nji gave the money. The Pope only blessed the money. But this is an example of corrupt practices, okay? And we have heard several allegations talking about this, okay? See, look at Atanga Nji sending his hand in his pocket to give the Pope. The Pope instead bless the money. You see, that is the height of corruption. The height of corruption. And this is allowed, right? Atango. They don't catch Atango right-handed for the one. The one they so, enough hide this one. Atango. Atango cannot hide. They catch it. Now, first of all, the question is, how did Atango find himself there in the first place? Okay. First, the decision to present himself to the Pope with a packet in his pocket. Indeed, even if he had he had gathered his sacramentals to be blessed or whatever, he should never have placed his rosaries and medallion in an envelope or whatever. The money that he put in that, the Pope can collect the money, but not in that manner of bribery, because nobody knew that he had something in his pocket, and he can be held for that, like trying to enter the Vatican with you understand? Yes, that is what There are diplomatic trend that Atanga Nji can follow. But the way he entered there, he reached his pocket. It can be something dangerous to kill the Pope. Security is not something you just get, like that, right? You cannot just say hand in your pocket and instead of you just greeting telling the Pope diplomatic discussion that Biya sent to the Pope. That's all what you have to do. You don't have to be carrying money in your pocket to give the Pope to favor the I know election is coming. The Biya regime is preparing for the elections. Okay. the problem with the Cameroon system is that they don't have any line of order. Anybody can just go and do anything. Who appointed Atanga Nji to go and represent? Okay, without even briefing on the Vatican diplomatic style, how they do in Vatican, and the protocol there. He knew nothing. And this thing will go now under scrutiny, okay, to ask who sent Atanga Nji there to come and bribe the Pope. Okay. Yeah, this is just something that should be questioned, right? The suspicious envelope. Atanga Nji had that suspicious envelope. You, with the bundle of money, you carry money from Cameroon, put it inside envelope, want to go and bribe the Pope. I mean, it's really portraying how you carry the culture of bribery and corruption abroad. Okay, I mean, just imagine you are in a religious environment. Okay, it's just public embarrassment for you to go out there and do this kind of thing, because how they should hold Atanga Nji accountable. He should go for questioning, but the government of Cameroon will not hold him accountable. Okay, he has done so many corrupt practices, but nobody can judge him because the government has no accountability. Okay, yeah, it is just something that, but we know why did Atanga Nji go and bribe the Pope? There's election coming. The Catholic Church has a huge, a huge following. So they are trying to see how to manipulate the Pope to get him favor them, during the election season, right? So what we are seeing here is that, first, Atanga Nji has disgraced Cameroon. There is no other way you can sugarcoat it. It's a disgrace, political disgrace, international disgrace, bribery and corruption. Okay, and that is why any international diplomat that comes to Cameroon is bribed, is given an envelope. So Atanga Nji thought that what they do to diplomats that go to Cameroon to silence them. That's why if a diplomat go to Cameroon, we know of the Commonwealth, the United Nations, all these people that go to Cameroon, they are leaving Cameroon with an envelope. So Atanga Nji thought that when he go to the Vatican, he can go and do what they are doing to these diplomats when they come to Cameroon, giving them envelope to shut their mouth. That's why for the past 9 years, the crisis in Cameroon and southern Cameroon going on, the most diplomats have been bribed. They have been silent financially. Okay, and you think that, okay, this and that, yeah, but even though they cannot bribe everybody, the little impact that it has had, this, the political undertone, yeah, they'll bribe these guys so that they should favor them during the election period. Okay, yeah, but this is something that really stained the image of Cameroon. Okay, and anybody don't have any explanation to give. There is no explanation to give. This is a proof of what they do to diplomats. Okay, there is no more. You want to come and explain to us what Atanga Nji wanted to do. I read some people were trying to talk about whether what. There is no explanation. Atanga Nji is not a Christian. Atanga Nji is not a Christian. Atanga Nji has banned all churches. Who will go and be banning churches instead of banning the bars, the nightclubs that promote prostitution, all those things that promote all those? No, Atanga Nji will never close a bar. They will go and close churches that are praying for the country. Atanga Nji is not a Christian. And then I saw what the President Biya wrote on his Twitter page saying that anybody that is not promoting religion is unacceptable. But you allow your minister to ban churches. Then you turn around and say it's not acceptable. Whatever. They are just, there's no connection in anything in that country anymore. Anybody does his thing. If you walk, he walk. If you don't walk, okay. But that is the image of Cameroon now. Where we see that Atanga Nji mafia-like behavior, is really endangering the state. A lot of things that are going on in that country, nobody has accountability. Atanga Nji should have been now in the Senate or the House explaining himself. Yes. That's why I enjoy listening to American politics, right? Because anything President Trump does, anything any of the secretary does, they'll go to the Senate and explain. They'll explain how he found himself in Vatican first. When we know that there's a prime minister, right? There's a prime minister there who is doing nothing. They'll question him on that. How he wanted to bribe the Pope. These are something that merits what they call impeachment. But does this work in Cameroon? It doesn't. No accountability. So many things happen, but nobody questions. Nobody questions. This is the Pope standing. Atanga Nji was supposed to discuss what Paul Biya sent him to do and talk to the Pope about that. Period. But you giving an envelope is the same thing. They bribe all these diplomats. You can explain tire. That's your problem. But Atanga Nji has been caught in this terrible. You see, that's him taking. You see him. You see, he wanted to give the Pope. The Pope only bless it. You see. Atanga Nji cannot explain himself anymore. The usual bribe and corruption that they do in Cameroon. You see, that is what he's doing. Look at taking his hand. The same corrupt practices that they do in Cameroon. And no doubt, Cameroon, you think that when the international community put Cameroon in the most corrupt countries, and Cameroon is one of the top most corrupt countries in the world, and that is why you see this happening. Most corrupt country in the world. That's, you see. Yeah. Oh man. It's just sad. It's just sad to see this happening. And yeah, thanks to all those who went to march. We appreciate you, and we thank you for everything. Thank you for the protests. Thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless the people of Southern Cameroon and Bazonia.
Villages torn, caught in the crossfire. Firing arms echo a deadly desire. Innocent lives caught in the midst, fleeing homes with nowhere to shift. With the sound of war and pain echoing through the lives in vain. But who's listening to the cries of the innocent who lost their lives? We're used to hurt, to destroy and to claim, leaving death and sorrow, a lingering shame. Our the sound of war and pain, echoing through the lives in vain. But who's listening to the cries of the innocent who lost their lives? But what about peace? What about love? Can't we find a way from above to put an end to this senseless fight and let humanity live in peace and light? We want peace, we want life, an end to violence, an end to strife. Let's come together, hand in hand, put an end to suffering in this troubled land. Voices for peace, a call to unite, ending violence, a future to ignite. Let's stand together for the love of life in a world without a war.